Welcome to Co-Pilot Podcasts. You know that feeling when you're trying to meditate but your mind just won't shut up? Well, what if I told you there's a 5,000-year-old technique that treats your breath like a remote control for your consciousness? Today, we're diving deep into Kriya Yoga, the ancient practice that's been called the airplane route to spiritual awakening. We'll explore its fascinating history, core techniques, and why it might be exactly what our stressed-out modern minds need. And with us is our resident meditation expert. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. You know, what's really fascinating about Kriya Yoga is that it's not just another meditation technique. It's actually a comprehensive science of working with your life force.
A science of life force? That sounds pretty intense. Can you break that down for us?
Well, according to the ancient texts, Kriya Yoga combines breathing techniques, concentration, and meditation to basically hack your nervous system. It's like rewiring your internal energy circuits.
Wait, so it's more about breathing than those pretzel-like yoga poses we see on Instagram?
Exactly. Unlike traditional physical yoga, Kriya Yoga focuses primarily on breathwork and meditation. The word Kriya itself means action or effort, but it's referring to internal actions, not external poses.
That's actually really interesting. It makes it more accessible for people who might not be super flexible.
Right, and you know what's even more fascinating? The lineage of this practice goes back thousands of years. It was actually first taught by Vivaswan, the first king of the Solar dynasty in ancient India.
Hold up, Solar Dynasty? That sounds like something out of Game of Thrones.
Well, it's actually a really important part of Indian history. But what's really cool is how this practice was passed down through generations, eventually being revived in the 19th century by a great yogi named Lahiri Mahasaya.
And this is where it gets interesting for our modern world, right?
Absolutely. You see, Lahiri Mahasaya was actually a regular family man with a government job. He showed that you don't need to be a monk in a cave to practice these powerful techniques.
That's pretty revolutionary for its time, I imagine.
Totally. And you know what's really mind-blowing? The fundamental principles of Kriya Yoga are said to be like mathematical truths. They can be rediscovered even if all the books are burned.
Wait, what? Like mathematical truths? How does that work?
Well, just like how 2 plus 2 will always equal 4, certain principles about how our consciousness works through breath are universal. They're based on the fundamental nature of human consciousness.
So it's like the source code of consciousness?
That's actually a great analogy. And like any good code, it's systematic. The practice works with something called chakras, energy centers in the spine.
I've heard of chakras. Those are the different colored energy points, right?
Well, that's the popular understanding, but in Kriya Yoga, it's less about visualizing colors and more about perceiving their locations as points of consciousness in the spine.
Interesting. So it's more practical than mystical?
Exactly. The focus is on direct experience rather than abstract concepts. It's about working with your breath to actually feel these energy centers.
And how exactly does that work? Like, what's the actual practice look like?
Well, at its core, Kriya Yoga uses specific breathing techniques called pranayama. But here's the important thing. These aren't techniques you should learn from a book or podcast.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Because these are powerful techniques that need to be learned properly. The texts specifically warn that you need an expert to check your execution of techniques like Mahamudra and Kriya Pranayama.
That makes sense. It's like having a spotter at the gym for your consciousness.
Exactly. And just like at the gym, everyone's different. What works for one person might not work for another.
So what are some of the benefits people experience when they practice correctly?
Well, the primary goal is spiritual awakening, but practitioners often report improved mental clarity, reduced stress, and a deeper sense of inner peace.
Those sound like things we could all use right now.
Absolutely. And what's particularly relevant for our modern world is how it works with the connection between breath and mind.
Can you explain that connection a bit more?
Sure. You see, your breath is like a bridge between your conscious and unconscious mind. When you learn to control your breath, you can influence mental states that are usually automatic.
That's fascinating. It's like using your breath as a remote control for your brain.
That's actually not a bad way to think about it, though the masters might prefer a more traditional metaphor.
Ha, fair enough. But speaking of masters, how does someone actually get started with Kriya Yoga?
The traditional approach is to find a qualified teacher from an authentic lineage. This isn't something you can just learn from YouTube videos.
Why is the teacher-student relationship so important?
Because these techniques can have powerful effects on your nervous system. A qualified teacher can guide you safely and adjust the practice to your individual needs.
That makes sense. Any red flags people should watch out for when looking for a teacher?
Yes, be wary of anyone claiming to teach advanced Kriya techniques online or through books. Authentic teachers will always emphasize the importance of proper initiation and personal guidance.
So it's not just about learning the techniques, but about the whole tradition?
Exactly. The techniques are part of a broader spiritual science that's been refined over thousands of years.
And this science is still relevant today?
More than ever. In our age of constant distraction and stress, having a systematic calm the mind and access deeper states of consciousness is incredibly valuable.
It's interesting how something so ancient can be so relevant to modern problems.
That's because it deals with fundamental aspects of human consciousness that haven't changed, even if our external world has.
And I guess that's why it survived for so long?
Precisely. The techniques have been preserved because they work, generation after generation.
That's pretty remarkable when you think about it.
It is. And what's even more remarkable is how it adapts to different cultures while maintaining its essential principles.
Like how it's been embraced by people from all different backgrounds?
Exactly. Because ultimately, it's about universal human experiences, breath, consciousness, and the search for deeper meaning.
Speaking of meaning, what would you say to someone who's skeptical about all this?
I'd say try it with an open mind, but also with proper guidance. The effects are experiential. You have to feel them to understand them.
That's a fair approach, not asking for blind faith, but not dismissing it either.
And remember, even the masters emphasize the importance of direct experience over belief.
Well, this has been incredibly enlightening. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
Yes, if you're interested in Kriya Yoga, take the time to find a qualified teacher and approach it with patience and respect. This isn't a quick fix, but a profound journey of self-discovery.
And maybe that's exactly what we need in our instant gratification world.
Absolutely. Sometimes the ancient paths are exactly what we need to navigate modern challenges.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Co-Pilot Podcasts. Remember, your breath isn't just keeping you alive. It might be the key to unlocking deeper levels of consciousness you never knew you had.
And just like that first king of the solar dynasty discovered thousands of years ago, the power to transform your consciousness is literally right under your nose.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the depths of Kriya Yoga. Until next time, keep breathing, but maybe a bit more consciously now.